Hello dear students, this is Anal Patni from Department of Microbiology and Biotechnology, Sivusha Institute of Science, run by Siv Ronak Foundation and is affiliated with Gujarat University. So today we are going to study another topic from unit number 4, that is chemotherapeutic agent as a growth inhibitors. So let us come to the specific terms which are very much useful during the study of chemotherapeutic agents. The first one is disinfection. So what do you mean by disinfection? So it is the destruction or a removal of vegetative pathogens but not a bacterial endospore, and which are usually used only on inanimate objects. For example, table or chair or any surface or any floor. So basically disinfection is a process in which we remove vegetative pathogens from the surface only. The other one is sterilization. So sterilization is a process in which the complete removal or destruction of all viable microorganisms takes place, and it is also used on inanimate objects. You know about sterilization very well because we use autoclave in our laboratory, and we do sterilization of all the glasswares and media and etc. So no need to detailed explanation of sterilization here. So the very third one, that is antisepsis. So that is a process in which chemical applied to your body surface to destroy or inhibit vegetative pathogens. So it is basically used while any surgery, or if you are suffering from any pus or loss of blood or etc. So basically antisepsis is a cleaning of your outer body surfaces to destroy any organisms which are present on your body surface. Now let us come to the chemotherapy. So the chemical used internally to kill or inhibit the growth of microorganisms within host tissues. So that is basically known as chemotherapy, in which we kill or inhibit the growth of microorganism within the tissue, within the cell. So it is a very different method, and aspect of chemotherapy is very different from the other ones. As we know, in disinfection or sterilization or antisepsis, we only apply a chemical or any liquid material on our outer body surface or on a non-living objects. But in a chemotherapy, we use chemicals or we insert chemicals inside our body. So it is difficult for it. These two are very specific terms during the study of chemotherapeutic agents. So the first one is CDAL, that means killing, and the second one is static, that means inhibitory. So whenever it comes to bacterial CDAL drug, it means that drug is going to kill the bacterial population. But when we use term bacteriostatic drug, then that specific drug is going to inhibit the bacterial growth but not kill the whole bacterial population. So this is very major difference between CDAL and static on the basis of their action. So let us come to the word chemotherapy. It is generally known as any chemical treatment given to the host cell. So The treatment of a disease with a chemical substances is known as chemotherapy, and the chemical substance which is used for the therapy is known as chemotherapeutic agents. So, ideally, chemotherapeutic agents used to treat infectious disease destroy pathogenic microorganisms or inhibit their growth at concentrations low enough to avoid undesirable damage to the host. Most of these agents are known as antibiotics. Let us come to the development of chemotherapy, that is historical highlights of chemotherapy. With respect to history of chemotherapeutic agents, there are so many scientists contributed in this field. So first of all, the modern era of chemotherapy began with the work of the German physician Paul Ehrlich. His work from 1854 to 1915. He was fascinated with dyes that specifically bind to and stain microbial cells. He reasoned that one of the dye could be a chemical that would selectively destroy pathogens without harming human cells. Afterwards, by 1904, Ehrlich found that the dye trypan red was active against the trypanosome that cause African sleeping sickness, and it could be used therapeutically. By the time after the use of dye, Ehrlich and a young Japanese scientist tested a variety of arsenicals on syphilis-infected rabbits and found that arsphenamine was active against the syphilis spirochete. Arsphenamine was made available in 1910 under the trade name Salvarsan, and further it is popular by Bullet 606. They tested hundreds of compounds for their selective toxicity and therapeutic potential. Now, in 1927, the German chemical industry, that is IG Farben industry, it is under the direction of Gerhard Domark. He had screened a vast number of chemicals for other magic bullets and discovered the Prontosil Red, a new dye for staining leather, protected mice completely against pathogenic streptococci and staphylococci without apparent toxicity. Another pair of scientists showed that the body metabolized the dye of sulfalamide. Domark received the 1939 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his discovery of sulfonamides or sulfa drugs. In the 1920s, Alexander Fleming, a physician, found that human tears contains a naturally occurring antibacterial substance that he termed lysozymes. This substance unfortunately had little therapeutic value because it could not be isolated in large quantities and was not effective against many microorganisms. However, it prepared Fleming for the discovery of penicillin, the first true antibiotic to be used therapeutically. It was actually discovered in 1896 by a 21-year-old French medical student named Ernest Duchenne. His work was forgotten until Fleming's accidental rediscovery of the antibiotic in September 1928. After returning from the weekend vacation, Fleming noticed that a petri plate of Staphylococcus also had a mold growing on it, and like the lysozyme he had discovered years before, there were no Staphylococcus colonies surrounding it. Although the precise events are still unclear, it has been suggested that a Penicillium notatum spore had made its way onto the petri dish before it had been inoculated with the staphylococci. So, there is a very long history behind the discovery of the penicillin, and further, in 1939, a professor of pathology at Oxford University was in the midst of testing the bacterial activity of many substances including lysozyme and the sulfonamamides, and somehow his co-worker obtained the penicillium culture from the Fleming and set about culturing it and purifying penicillin. So after that, that three scientists, Fleming, Florey and Chain, received the Nobel Prize in 1945 for the discovery and production of penicillin. Now let us come to the another one, that is streptomycin. So Salman Waxman announced in 1944 that he and his associates had found a new antibiotic, that is streptomycin, and that is produced by the actinomycet, that is Streptomyces griseus. So it is the first drug that could successfully treat a tuberculosis. And further, Waxman received a Nobel Prize in 1952, and his success led to the worldwide search for other antibiotic producing soil microorganisms. So after the contribution of Waxman, further chloramphenicol, neomycin and tetracycline were also isolated from the Streptomyces species by 1953. So this is a very brief historical overview of chemotherapeutic agents. Principles of chemotherapy, and discuss about the general characteristics of chemotherapeutic agents and chemotherapy treatment. So, with the study of characteristic of chemotherapeutic agent, the very first and most important characteristic should be, it should not be very much effective to the host cell. So it should have a very less toxic effect to the host cell. So to be useful as a chemotherapeutic agent, a substance must have selective toxicity for the parasite, which means a low toxicity for host cells and high toxicity for the parasite. In other words, we also can say that the substance must damage the parasite and cause little or no damage to the cell of the host. So, for this reason, antiseptics, germicides such as phenol, cortical derivatives and many mercurial compounds are unsuccessful as chemotherapeutic agents because they are very much harmful to the host cell. Now, the another characteristic is their effectiveness. So, drugs have very diverse effectiveness on the basis of their structure. So, some have ability to destroy or inhibit a maximum species of pathogenic microorganisms, and the other one which have limited capacity to destroy or inhibit pathogens. So, the one who have very limited variety of pathogens to inhibit are known as nanospectrum antibiotics, and the one that can attack many different kind of pathogens are known as broad spectrum antibiotics. So, the antibiotic which can inhibit the growth of one or two organisms only, or one or two species of organisms only, then they are known as narrow spectrum antibiotics, and the antibiotic which can inhibit or destroy a bacterial growth of various species, number of species, so they are known as broad spectrum antibiotics. Also, very important characteristic should be the antibiotic should not affect a normal microflora of the host. So, we know that sometimes we take a antibiotic and we get suffered from the diarrhea or any other illness. So, it is due to a antibiotic effect. So, what antibiotic do is sometimes a heavy antibiotic dose can affect our normal microflora, normal bacterial flora present in our body. So, removal of that normal microflora by the antibiotic, they cause a major side effects in our body. So, the antibiotic should not affect any effect to our normal microflora. Now, the other properties are like they can be easily absorbed by the host tissue. They should be able to maintain effective tissue and body level for the long time, and they should not get easily degraded by body enzyme or get easily extracted out via urine. So, these are some general characteristics and principle of chemotherapy and chemotherapeutic agents. We earlier see the difference between CDAL and static. So, the drug can also be classified on the basis of CDAL and static condition. So, CDAL agent kills the target pathogen. Its activity is concentration dependent and the agent may be only static at low levels. The effect of an agent also varies with the target species. An agent may be CDAL for one species and static for another one, because static agents do not directly destroy the pathogen. Elimination of the infection depends on the host's own resistant mechanism. A static agent may not be effective if the host resistance is too low. So, it is basically only based on the resistance of the host, and drug may also be classified based on the general microbial group they act against. Like if they act against bacteria, then they are known as antibacterial. If they act against fungus, then they are known as antifungal. If they are kill or prevent a protozoan, then they are known as antiprotozoan. And some drugs or some chemotherapeutic agents are effective against viruses. then they are known as antiviral. So these are the characteristics of the chemotherapeutic agents. Now let us come to the type of chemotherapeutic agents. So there are mainly three types of chemotherapeutic agents. The one is naturally occurring chemotherapeutic agents. So basically naturally occurring chemotherapeutic agents are obtained from plants, animals or microbial cells. Generally, antimicrobial substance produced by microbial cells and used as chemotherapeutic agents and known as antibiotic. So we know that the streptomycin is produced from actinomycetes. So they are naturally occurring. And that antibiotic possess capability of inhibiting or killing a pathogen at a very low concentration. So this is a brief knowledge about naturally occurring chemotherapeutic agent. Now the next one is synthetic chemotherapeutic agent. So synthetic drugs prepared in the laboratory, they include a wide variety of chemical substances such as sulfonamides, nitroflurans, isoniazide, nalidixic acid and many others. So they are totally prepared in the laboratory and basically it is a mixture of more than 2 chemical compounds. So let us come to the third type, that is semi-synthetic chemotherapeutic agent. So many antibiotics are nowadays obtained by chemical or a biological modification on the basis of nucleus derived from naturally occurring antibiotics. So in that basically what happened, that we obtained antibiotic from nature, so from the bacteria or from the plant or any. So that antibiotic we modified in our laboratory and that is known as semi-synthetic chemotherapeutic agent. So these semi-synthetic agents have more chemotherapeutic value and effective on drug resistant organisms. So basically this is they are a first generation or a second generation or a generations of naturally occurring chemotherapeutic agents. So this is a type of chemotherapeutic agents. So let us come to the general mode of action of chemotherapeutic agents. So here in this slide we can see that in how many various types or in how many various ways the chemical compound can affect the microbial cells. So the first one is by inhibiting of protein synthesis. So what drug can do is they directly affect on the protein synthesis of microorganisms. So if the protein synthesis of microorganism is affected by a chemical compound, then it inhibits the protein synthesis and then organism cannot reproduce and they die. So as well inhibition of cell wall synthesis. The other one is interfering with nucleic acid synthesis. So in the synthesis of DNA and RNA, chemical compound can stop their process or affect their process. So by interfering with nucleic acid synthesis, they can stop the growth of microorganism or they can inhibit the growth of microorganism. The next one is inhibiting specific enzyme system of cell. And the last one is interfering with cell membrane structure and function. So by affecting these various ways, the chemotherapeutic agent can inhibit or kill the growth of microorganisms. So, in the very next session, we are going to study each and every mode of action of the drug in detail with the useful and various examples. So, thank you very much for the hearing me out. If you have any query, I shall be happy to entertain at my mail. Thank you so much.